Seriously, greed is massively strong. I need subs, send me donations and subs. Give me the money. Okay? I have a 10-year plan in a business degree. No budget can contain the money flowing from me because I'm a bender, fam. I be dropping these G's. They got nothing on me. They got nothing on me. Buying statues, leasing beamers. I'm the most prolific of the streamers. Engaging a young bitch. Then I leave her. Shout out to Derek loves lemurs. I did nothing wrong. Maxed out 13 credit cards. Wasn't even trying hard. The pandemic buried it with money in the backyard. $500,000 fill time for an emergency. I got 2 big bills ready for scope leave. What is the greatest donation? I'm crowdfunding. Wrote off my Xbox and PlayStation. What is the greatest donation? Like 100,000 hustling so hard. I can't take a vacation. I will make piece receipts with my paper. Receipts, add your bot to a spreadsheet. Piece of shit. If LTG pays me 5 Gs, then I'll show him my that goes app. And a private react contribute my tribute. No fucking chargebacks. Okay? Seriously. What is the greatest donation? Dash dinner wanted in renting for tax evasion. What is the greatest donation? Evil winner. You owe me that bounty based on my calculations. And I paid for a very, very extravagantly expensive steak meal. The most expensive meal I've ever had in my life. I got the chair, the most expensive possible. This TV is pretty pricey, top of the line. I got paid for your stupidity. For your failed troll attempt, I made money. The most expensive vodka I've ever had was Grey Goose. Business class internet, the most expensive possible. I don't even want to tell you how much that was. That was the most expensive thing I bought. And that was exclusively supposed to be for this series. What am I gonna do, play with a fucking gun?
Bang, 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 bang.
This year I spent an insane amount of money. I bought brand new mouse and keyboard, new lap desk, really good quality, name brand, wrist rests. Have you seen my visual feast of RGBs for my 2 PCs? And it all syncs perfectly, which is really neat.
I'm living, king dream, dual streaming. I'm the king of crushing goals and belt controls while they see me go. With my success, don't need all that, so I'm having upsurgence.
Blacked out curtains, Elgato foam. I have 4 boom arms and a brand new microphone. Primo webcam, the Elgato Stream Deck. As you can see, RGBs powered by SkyTech. I got a new crown, a crown that fits and thickers final chip. Oh, I dropped it. Oh, lickety split. Samsung SSD that was just donated to me. NVMe 2 instead of NVMe 3, whatever that means.
I'm living, king dream, dual streaming. I'm the king of crushing goals and belt controls while they see me go. With my success, don't need all that, so I'm having upsurgence.
Again, guys, I'm living in this reality that people like me now and want to support my stuff. It's hard for me to accept it and think that it's real. Do a begathon where tip me and do this and do that. We're not doing that. It's business as usual here on DSP Gaming. We play games, we have fun. If you guys like it, you support it. The week is going slow. Tough through it. So how are you doing? This is how I'm doing. Tips very low now. But I've noticed tips very low right now. The week is going slow. It gets to me. My life is ruined. This is how I'm doing. And losers out there who thinks that they know shit, kiss my fucking ass and eat my right now. A full podcast booked, full gameplay streams booked. Everything's booked. Everything's booked. Can't do anything crazy. And I don't even have enough to buy groceries. It sucks. The week is going slow. Tough through it. So how are you doing? This is how I'm doing. Tips very low now. But I've noticed tips very low right now. The week is going slow. It gets to me. My life is ruined. This is how I'm doing. Losers out there who thinks that they know shit, kiss my fucking ass and eat my right now. Girl, how are you doing? This is how I'm doing. Girl, how are you doing? This is how I'm doing. Girl, how are you doing? This is how I'm doing. Girl, how are you doing? This is how I'm doing.
Hello, and despite them not understanding the things I say on Twitter, I am still here back again for another Saturday style Atlas stream, of which I appreciate all of your attendance. It is very cool, meaningful, and robust, if I must say so myself. Especially because the furious Cinnabon already sent $5. Thank you so much. And you say, one day Atlas will be a real businessman, just like the guy. Well, that's my dream. Maybe one day I could be more like the guy. That's what everybody wants, right? That's the goal of all of humanity, I think. Like I said, thank you all for showing up once again, Saturday style. Of course, we're going to open with the Atlas segment. And once again, second week in a row, I think. I don't really have much to report. I've got some home repairs to do today, which is very cool now that the weather is getting warmer. That's cool. And they added multiplayer to Teardown, if you guys are familiar with that game, that voxel-based destruction game. So I played that yesterday. It was actually a lot of fun. If you haven't played it and you're interested in Teardown with your friends, it's a good time. Blowing shit up, blowing them up. It's all right. Not too many complaints there. And that's the Atlas style segment. We be working. It is what it is. But the guy, on the other hand, is honestly just as boring as I am, I guess, this week. I only have 2 clips. He bored the shit out of me with his Slay the Spire gameplay that is entirely handheld by chat and offers nothing of value. His RimWorld gameplay that is handheld by chat and is not worth a goddamn thing. It's really just this weird clip about how he can't read, or other people can't read, I guess. I'm suspecting that he can't read either. And then Crimson Desert. So it may or may not be a short stream. It is entirely dependent on how much I ramble, I guess. Hopefully I don't ramble like the guy. But anyway, here is this was the first thing he did all week that actually even interested me whatsoever. It was on Thursday. I was so disappointed with him, but I think that this is gold and makes him look so much worse than had he just never said anything whatsoever. This rant that he went on to insult his viewers, his chatters, other people just in general was completely unnecessary.
Oh, there
and
you
did
have it.
nothing but bad for him.
So Mighty says, I would like to see more Mugenics, but I get it if it doesn't have an audience. There's an example of a game. I didn't think I was going to like it. You guys convinced me to try it. I tried it. I like it. I played it twice for half an hour, so an hour now. I like the gameplay. The gameplay is very similar to Final Fantasy Tactics or South Park: The Fractured But Whole. It's like the grid spatial-based, turn-based combat, and each character is unique and has different abilities that they can use. And the thing is, the gimmick of the game is that the cats basically kind of crossbreed and create hybrids of each other. So you might have a cat that has this great ability, but this also great ability from another cat, and now you can like customize your units and things, you see?
Great. Now, for the record, I've never played this game. I know a lot of people that have. People are really enjoying, Mugenics. It's called isometric. Is it an isometric game? I'm not sure. We'll call it that. Now, I've never played it. A lot of people seem to be into it, but obviously it's not working for DSP. Just like a bunch of other games that DSP's been playing recently. Surprise, surprise, he can't make them interesting and can't entertain.
And I totally get the appeal of that.
I know, you never saw it coming.
The 2 times I played it, all I got were complaints. Everyone said, this game is boring as dirt. And I'm like, did you never play a grid-based RPG before? Like, it's actually very tactical, very strategic.
Very tactical.
Do you see the pattern? what I'm
Dude,
saying.
they're wearing their 511 gloves, okay? They've got plate carriers. It's very tactical.
G,
The
Slay
cats, of
Spire
course.
too. Very cerebral, very tactical. You have to think and plan out your deck and your moves. Oh, look, Mugenics, you have to think and plan out your attacks on a grid. People, oh, I can't handle it. My brain's melting. It's coming out of my ears because I have the IQ of a bunny rabbit. You know? So, well, not me. I like it.
Rest in peace,
But I don't
Bunny,
know what to
of
tell you.
course.
It's not like I'm sitting here silently playing and not talking. I'm narrating everything I'm doing. I'm talking about my thought process. I'm trying to interact with the chat when I play it.
But none of that is interesting. Like, he immediately denigrates whoever has complaints by telling them that they're low IQ, they don't have the attention span for these games, they'll just never get it because they're too stupid. But then to make up for, I guess, this this shortfall on their behalf, he's oh, I'm narrating, as if that's important, as if you needed everything narrated to you like you're super blind man. I'm telling you my thought process, which is almost non-existent because he's usually being handheld or not understanding the game mechanics anyway. And then he talks about how he's trying to engage with the chat as if any of those people have anything interesting to say or ask, and any of his responses are going to be entertaining either. It's just a fucking L every which way you cut the mustard on this. But it's everybody else's fault, obviously. It's the chat's fault.
And half
It's
the people are
who
like,
have low IQ.
what is this? There's no sparklies. There's no explosions. There's no one dying constantly. They can't handle it. They can't. You know what? I was talking to my wife about this last night. Isn't it funny that no one reads anymore? Like when I was a kid.
What a great topic to talk to your wife about, by the way. Honey, these fucking losers on the internet don't even know how to fucking read. It's so embarrassing. Oh my God.
My dad would constantly read to me. And I would see him reading in a book, and I would learn how to read words by actually seeing him read the words in a book. And then I would associate that word with that sound and that meaning. And then I learned how to read from watching my dad read to me. And then I would go to school, and I already had a one-up on all the kids in school who some of them were starting at level 0 and had no idea how to read at all.
Meanwhile, he was starting at level 1. He's been a level 1 lifer, you know. I love the pig explanation on how he learned how to read, though. That was very cool. That was very robust. As if you guys don't have your own experiences on learning how to read. This is entirely unique to DSP. I think it's a little sad, though, to be reminded, at least in this way, when he tells these like childhood style stories, that at one point DSP's parents, I think, genuinely did care about him. They tried, they did their best to some extent, and then this is the way that it turned out. Like, it's just sad to see or to hear about the past in this way. It's a reminder of what could have been. You know, he could have been normal. He could have been like a good son or something, or a good entertainer, and then we got this instead.
Okay? It's like that level of intelligence is just lost on people. Did you know we have people who are graduating from high school who don't read? I'm not shitting you. People are graduating from fucking high school and can't read.
Yes,
That's
sir.
the level of intelligence we have on Earth today with humans. Yet now we want AI to do everything for us. Does that sound like a good idea?
And this is just, I think, the most, I want to say the behind the times style take, you know? To say that people are being dumb and ignorant and stupid and aren't learning the way that they're supposed to. Like, maybe I have a different perspective because I didn't graduate that long ago. Obviously, as time passes, I'm no longer the young, youthful skeleton I used to be. I've graduated a time ago now. But even then, I knew motherfuckers that couldn't read that were graduating. I know how the school system was pushing them along simply so that they could keep their numbers boosted, and those troglodytes would never be a benefit to society. But he's like a decade behind the times at this rate, brother. It's been like this for ages, and he's bringing it up now as though he's the first one to discover this. This is hot. This is a hot, fresh take straight out of DSP that no one's ever heard before. Welcome to the world, buddy. It's a shithole. What do you want me to tell you? Like, he's the biggest brained individual on the planet himself. I think you NWO News for the 5 saying, so RimWorld was the more intelligent style game, and yet he complained that the graphics sucked and were no explosions, the exact thing he's mad at. Well, yeah, he even acknowledged himself when he started playing RimWorld. I want to say it was after his first or second session that he was saying that this is the type of game that he would never play typically by himself because he doesn't have the time or wherewithal to learn all of the mechanics, and that if it weren't for the hand-holding, he just wouldn't have given it the time of day. But yeah, exactly. He's the one that's complaining everybody else isn't willing to put in the effort. Everybody else isn't willing to just sit there and watch him learn a game while they probably also simultaneously learn how to play these games. It's just fucking silly, man.
So when I try to stream an intelligent game and
Thank you for
half the
5,
audience
though, NWO
is
News.
acting like they're having a brain aneurysm, I think I understand what's going on. It's kind of messed up how bad society has become, you know? So anyway, I am absolutely positively loving all the games we're playing. It just sucks that some of them aren't clicking with the audience right now, and there's not much that I can really do about it, right?
Except be more entertaining. Except engage with your audience on a level that is going to engage them. Like maybe you be the entertainer rather than the game. That is something he could do that never seems to really be in his repertoire. It's not in his arsenal to just be more entertaining to compensate for the game not holding the attention. Just absolutely not in the arsenal.
I can't make you like a genre you don't like. I can't make you understand that I'm going to try to play more indie games on this channel and to get used to it. All I can do is say, hey, I'm going to do my best to make these playthroughs entertaining. I'm going to tough it out if they're not always doing well. And hopefully long-term, we can convince people that these games are good and you should give it a try and stop being so damn close-minded, because that's exactly what happened last year with Blueprints. Oh, my.
But I hate this mentality, though. Oh, we have to convince these people that they should give this a shot, that this is actually a good thing, and they want to watch this. I feel like if someone constantly has to tell you that this is for your benefit, despite you adamantly not appreciating it, not enjoying it, and everything about it not being for you, if they have to keep telling you that this is good for you, maybe it's not. Maybe we're going about this the wrong way. I don't think that we have to convince people to enjoy games that they just do not enjoy or that they don't understand and don't want to understand. Forcing more people into spaces that they don't belong in is not ideal, brother. And this has done nothing but make video games worse for, again, like the past decade. Just shoehorning in people that have no business being in these spaces. But we have to make them for, I guess, the benefit of DSP or the benefit of these big-ass companies that want the money, you know?
My God, all you're doing is wandering.
It's the same mentality, but it's, of course, different when DSP does it and different the other way when companies do it. That's why he's allowed to complain when they do it.
Through the same rooms over and over, and this is so boring and repetitive. Like, yeah, but do you not understand that every time we play, there's a new puzzle we're solving, there's a new overarching thing that we're doing, we're unlocking a new content, a new room, a new piece of, what? It's all the same. No.
Well, and a guy with long hair is saying that we should make people enjoy Street Fighter so that Phil can call them button pushers or button mashers or whatever. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like we change games or we force things upon people in the gaming space, and then we I guess make them enjoy them or dumb them down to such an extent that they do get into them, and then we complain about the products that are made afterwards that also cater to them. Well, obviously, that's going to be the fucking result, and he's going to bitch about it when it happens, but he's going to bitch about it when it doesn't happen. It's just, it's a catch-24 or whatever. Thank you, Pope Super Kame Jizzler, for the 23 months, saying he also says, I can't make you like it. He wishes more than anything that he could force every person on the internet to watch him and give him money. Absolutely, he does. That would just be the easiest, solution. That would be the final solution, actually.
Well, it's not. It's just that you don't have an attention span faster than, say, 5 minutes, longer than 5 minutes. You can't stand to stare at a game and actually have to think.
Thank you for the 23 months.
You want explosions. You want combat. You want me swearing and raging. Well, that's not going to be every game, okay? So
it kind of is, though.
Let's see how it goes in the next few weeks. I want to keep playing these games, but what we have to gauge, if there's other things going on that people would like to see more, we maybe have to adjust down the fly, and that's okay. But I would like to keep going with Slay the Spire 2. At least I want to play with all 5 characters and maybe play another run and see the other variables. It is an early access, so very well it could be that within another week or two, we've done everything in the game at this point, and we're like, yeah, we move on. And that's okay. We come back later when there's more characters, because right now there's 5, but apparently there's supposed to be 12 total. So I'd be down for going back
See, and he's already planning on returning to a game that isn't maintaining an audience now. Why in the hell is he pre-planning to bore his audience in the future when there's even less interest in this game? I'm not going to say that Slay the Spire 2 isn't popular and that when it finally does get its official 1.0 release and all the content is out, that people aren't going to be playing it. I don't think that's the case. They definitely will. But DSP's audience isn't going to give a shit. It's going to be like Hades 2 all over again. If he doesn't play it now, when his audience is the most interested, he's not playing it later. I mean, he is playing it now, but I just don't think that he's going to get any sort of audience later to do the same thing all over again. I think he gets one stream out of it and then bitches, moans, and complains the following day. That's just the way that it's going to have to play out. Thank you, Adderall Dependent, for the 5, saying not beating the don't read allegations by calling it a catch-24, LOL, or LMFAO, whatever. I know it's a 22. I've always known it's a 22, but I'm going to pick a random number every single time. I don't care. Catch 220, catch 99, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying.
When there's, more people who
I'm
are
just
engaged
being
and maybe
difficult.
the game has more content. The other thing is, there's more than enough to do. Outside of everything I've just described, there's one other game we're playing, Street Fighter 6. Street Fighter 6 is still insanely rage-inducing because the online play is fucking terrible.
I'm going to execute the catch
Lagging,
66,
dropping
real
of
talk.
inputs,
You're
it's
in for it.
infuriating, okay? A lot of people don't seem to understand that it's not necessarily the game that drives me nuts. It's the fact that you can't really play the game well because they've designed it so poorly. Sorry, it's just a fact. I'm speaking facts. No one wants to hear in the FGC, but the game is a piece of dog shit online, okay? So
Dog shit.
I
It's
do my
poop.
best
It
to play
sucks.
Street Fighter 6. When I do,
Street Fighter 6 is terrible and only normies can play it because it's button mashing, pattern player's wet dream. And yet we go back to Street Fighter 6 every so often so that we can milk the dents a little bit more. And we can pretend as though we really enjoy these fighting games still to this day, even though it's very clear that we don't. We really, really don't.
usually people show up, engage, and support. Almost always. All right, it's not every stream, but most streams do really well. Mostly because a lot of people like to see me struggle and rage. Some people like to see me overcome. Okay.
Ew. I don't think anybody wants
I
to
am
see
going to
that.
play more
brother.
Street Fighter 6 next week. In fact, we're at 3-star diamond rank with Alex, the new character. Obviously, I want to play with him more and get him to master. And then after that, we'll see what else we want to do. Okay, but that will continue. So you'll get your action, all right, that you're so craving. You'll get it.
Action.
And if Crimson Desert has action, you'll also get it there. Okay?
Spoiler, you will not get it there. At least not in the quantity that you thought you would get it.
So I certainly hope that you guys will be here next week as we continue with Dragon Quest, Slay the Spire 2, RimWorld, Street Fighter 6, and now Crimson Desert. That's what's on the agenda for next week.
That's what's on the agenda. Not for very long, of course. Speaking of RimWorld, I did make... I forgot this in the Atlas segment. Sorry, I'm going to shoehorn it in here. I was playing RimWorld a little bit this week. My one-man colony has turned into a two-man colony. It's temporary, of course. We get raided like every fucking day at this point. I really don't know what I'm supposed to do. This is a cry out for help. Every raid is nonsense. I'm always in dire straits. It's been tough, guys. I'm not sure how I can progress. But anyway.
Yes, we will explore more games. For example, like I said, there is Life is Strange, and we may or may not play that, depending on if you guys want it or not. Next week, we'll see. And we'll go from there.
Skill
Now,
issue,
there's
it's
more
true. It's
happening
true.
as well. Let's talk about it. But first, let's do a couple quick shout-outs. Rich Cheney did a $2 Canadian Super Chat. Says, what are your top 5 favorite books? No lie.
No
I would
lie.
probably say...
Which means it's probably a lie.
And I know this is cliche. Probably the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Uh-huh.
Probably is my favorite trilogy of books, and I would probably say out of the 3, Return of the King is my favorite book of the 3.
Right.
I would probably...
So he's already got 3 out of the 5, which is more than I thought he was going to be capable of. And he went with a totally normie boomer style opinion. Spoiler, it's going to be all normie boomer style opinions here. But Lord of the Rings is not a bad trilogy. They're good books, good all around. I'm not going to complain in any aspect about Tolkien nor Lord of the Rings. But it's just very odd to me that his first pick is the most like normie coded pick of all time. I shouldn't be surprised, but
I would say the real Jurassic Park, not the movie, but the actual book by Michael Crichton is super duper freaking good. It's actually much better than the movie and has a lot of missing content that wasn't in the movie that makes it a much more complete experience. Actually, it makes it way more scary, like a horror movie.
Wow. Guys, did you know that if you read the novel instead of watching the movie, you get more content and you actually get a better insight into the narrative? Who would have thought that when you can actually read the minds of characters and their thoughts and feelings, that it's actually a better experience than trying to be conveyed through an actor on a screen? I would have never thought that. That's so crazy. This is why they call it the Level 1 podcast, I believe, because this is the type of shit that you tell to a small child, possibly in the elementary school category, to try and widen their worldview. And DSP is telling this to his fans as if that's who they are on Level 1. Thank you, Now Ronan, for the 5. Saying the fact that he is legit giving his audience backhanded negative comments and his low IQ inbred fans still give him money shows how low IQ they really are. I agree. I absolutely agree. This is the relationship that they have that he has with his audience. He's always had this relationship. You're always on the firing line. Or I guess you're always facing the wall. You're not on the firing line. When you're a DSP fan, you're always able to be made fun of and ridiculed, and you are still expected to give money. It's just the way it's always worked. That's why it's a cult mentality. Thank you for the 5. Now Ronan.
I remember before the movies. Okay, I actually really liked reading the original Da Vinci Code book.
Shout out to Da Vinci Code, dude. My grandmother loved those books.
And I liked those too. What was it? Dan Brown, is that the writer? I liked those. Probably the first 2 to 3 Game of Thrones actual books by George R.R. Martin are masterpieces. But after the first 3 to...
Still level 1 picks, by the way. We've got the Da Vinci Code, which was also made into a film, or at least a film franchise, I think. And then Game of Thrones, huge IP with a multi-season running show that he definitely, didn't have to read the books, but whatever.
For books, it just goes into the toilet.
They're not called Game of Thrones. No, they're called like a bunch of other shit. Of Ice and Fire or fucking something stupid. I never read those either.
Series that had such potential, and then you can tell the author lost interest and just didn't care anymore and was writing slop and then stopped writing.
He was writing slop.
Let's see. I'm trying to think, like, if there's any other books that I read that really stand out amongst the pack besides those.
And this just shows me that he doesn't read. Great screen grab, by the way. This just goes to show that he doesn't read. Like, he can't even think of other books that he's enjoyed. Like, if you are an avid reader or you have read an extended period of time in your life, you should be able to come up with books that you've read that you've enjoyed and can remember. But he's listed, I think 6 in total, 7. And that's the extent of the library of books he's ever read. He just can't recall any of them. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I'm the most well-read individual on the fucking planet either, but I live in a modern world, okay? Reading is not necessarily my biggest hobby, but I have read. I've read a variety of genres, nonfiction and fiction, and I can tell you the names of the books, and there haven't been film adaptations of them, but not DSP. You could never.
Oh, I know.
Anyone spamming 6-7 in the chat is banned.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That series was hilarious. British wit. Really, really witty, interesting stuff. Good humor, dry humor, sarcastic humor. Fun.
Yeah, DSP's he's a real British humor enjoyer. Obviously, he understands the sophistication and nuance of dry British style humor, obviously.
Funny stuff. Really.
And I've never read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's one of those things that old people talk about when they talk about funny, like, books that had an impact on them growing up or whatever. And just the way they talk about it has made me avoid it like the plague. I'm not interested, especially reading from Brits. It's just not going to happen.
I really
Sorry.
like that book series, and I read them all. I read the entire series. What was his name?
The book is or the Hitchhiker's Guide was an adaptation. The original's a radio show. I believe that's true. I want to say that's information that I know to be true.
I feel bad. I forgot his name now. Who's the author of those? Is it Adams? His last name was Adams?
Hitchhikers could be a great novel, but it's the way that the people that enjoyed it talk about it have made me, like, skirt away from it. Which, I can't control that. If you have a bad fan base, you have a bad fan base, bro.
Douglas Adams. Yep. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So there you go. I would say those are my top, not necessarily individual books, but some of those were series because they're all good. But like I would say, well, definitely Return of the King was my favorite of the Lord of the Rings series. And I would say, man, see, out of the Douglas Adams books, there's a lot of, they're all good. Probably The Diner at the Edge of the Universe is probably the best one, I think. The Diner at the Edge of the Galaxy. That's what it's called. There you go.
Great. Thanks for your in-depth book
By the way,
analysis, DSP.
What's hilarious is people are going to be like, I didn't know that you read 5 books. That was the joke. We thought you weren't going to be able to name 5 books. Oh, I used to read all the time. I actually read.
But let's be honest, he barely named 5 books. I feel like anyone can pretend to read Lord of the Rings or can pretend to read Game of Thrones, right? Because there have been film adaptations. It's part of, like, aspects of the lore and canon of these IPs is part of the cultural zeitgeist to some extent. Like, nobody's going to call you out and say that you never read Lord of the Rings when you did, because the book is ancient as shit, and you'll probably be able to rattle off information about it, just, like I said, through the cultural zeitgeist or through seeing the films or having read the first third of the book or whatever the case is. So I'm not really willing to give him the points on this for naming a bunch of normie books that I think anybody could have named.
A lot of Michael Crichton's books, like Timeline, was actually super good book, terrible movie. Again, the books using the source materials for movies are way better than the movies that come out. Timeline, the book, is like this brutal, gritty, messed up storyline that's gripping as hell, like super suspenseful, great writing. Then the movie is like dog shit, you know? Anyway. Oh yeah, Andromeda Strain, that's a great book.
Well, and Paul Turner, this is the type of pushback I wish his audience would give him. Yeah, exactly. I'd like to dig down on that and question Phil on how the books are different from the films. Absolutely, the type of discussion I think that would actually be interesting from DSP to go into depth about how the films are different from the movies and the way that he did and didn't enjoy this compared to that. If you know something about something, he'd be able to do that. But instead, he keeps it surface level one style conversation and then tries to move on to something else. Oh, you guys thought I wouldn't know 5 books, to immediately try and flip it back onto the audience, I guess, and start berating them instead of, continuing to provide information.
Book. Hell yeah. See, now people are reminding me of all the books that I used to read back in the day that are super good. There you go. But anyway, I just find that funny.
The people had to remind him what books he's read. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that so fun?
Because people thought I didn't read 5 books. I probably read more books than most of you.
Yeah, you fucking idiots.
Truth.
You don't even read.
2 a.m., how you doing? $5 super chat. He says, what are your thoughts on water desalinization? I believe it will become more and more important in the future with the way the environment is changing. What do you mean? Like taking salt out of water so we have more drinkable water? I'm not a scientist.
That's an expensive
I don't know much
process. Oh, okay. DSP knows nothing about water salinization whatsoever. He's completely oblivious to the concept. I don't have any takes, buddy.
Okay, let's treat it as
not that I expect everyone to know about fucking water, fucking desalinization or whatever, but he could be a little informed. I don't know. He does live next to the ocean or near the ocean.
Big experiment. That's why I cleared my day to do it. Right? Let's see how it goes. Okay. I received a $5 tip. This is our first tip animation of the day. And this person says, I'd like to stay anonymous. Kudos to you for changing your schedule around so now we can have maximum Crimson Desert coverage. I'm on the fence about it. I'm looking forward to watching your coverage to make up my mind. I have heard the first 8 hours are kind of slow. All right, well, you know what?
And then DSP proceeded to not play 8 hours and still be angry at the game and said that it was slow. Again, this is spoilers for what you will inevitably see on this stream, but it's so funny to me that all of the reviews, like on Steam, all of the reviews that came out, on release, everybody kind of said the same thing about the opening hours being slow and about this and that, and those are the exact experiences that DSP had and then still complained about and refused to play the game any further. It's just so weird to me that he was told in advance and then was still frustrated. Like he didn't expect it to be the case.
If that is the case, it's actually a good thing that we're doing it all today, right? We're playing for 6 to 7 hours today. Let's get through the slow build stuff. So when we play it again on Sunday, maybe we'll get to the good stuff, right? There you go.
There you go.
Let's see. Thank you for the tip. Also, Greg did a $2 super chat. He says, sorry for being too regarded return bangs. Well, first of all, you can say retarded. There's nothing wrong with that word. Being honest with you, there's not.
There's not.
All it means
You
is
say
that
retarded whenever you want.
essentially, like, for example, when you talk about something that's flame retardant, what does it
Right.
mean?
Go
It means
ahead.
that something is not easy to catch fire. It actually kind of prevents fire. It slows down fire.
It
There's nothing wrong with the
slows
word.
down fire. And I know that's what a retarder does. Obviously, that is I believe the definition of retarder is that it's supposed to slow a process.
I'm a god. How can you kill a god?
It's just
What a
so funny to me to
brand
pull
and
up flame
intoxicating
retardation
nuisance.
as an example here. Thank you, Penitent Saint, for the 24 months, saying DSP giving us the R pass. Now be careful, folks. That's the R pass, not the hard R pass. That's different. But DSP does kind of lean into something, a similar sentiment in a minute.
It's not offensive. Okay? It's not. Humans are dumb, and they take the most inoffensive, nonsensical words, and they make them offensive because they're silly snowflakes who just want to be offended by everything because they're bored.
Like that. So I want DSP to get on stream and start saying the gamer word. If he genuinely thinks that there are some words that are not offensive, cannot be offensive, are simply people wanting to be offended and going out of their way to do so, I want DSP on stream dropping gamer words left, right, and center when he's frustrated. I want him to really pull it out and stand on that. It's just a personal style take.
I'm going to repeat what I just said. People get offended all the time because they're bored, because they have nothing to fucking do. If they actually had things around them that were like dangerous or risky, or if they had any kind of stress or strife in their lives, they wouldn't be scared by fucking words.
Well, and you guys in chat are right on the money here. That show us the banned word list. DSP, he gets offended at words like job and casino and helicopter and horse. Like, these are very innocuous words that don't actually have a negative connotation to them whatsoever, except to DSP. And those are the words that are policed. But words that generally people have an understanding of that are offensive, are meant to be derogatory, those are the words that DSP wants to stand by and go, well, they're only offensive because you guys are pussy snowflakes. And this is not in defense of word policing whatsoever. I'm a big slur enjoyer myself in a context, but it's just an odd stance for DSP to take when he exists the way he does, in the echo chamber bubble style that he does.
Okay? You're only scared by a word because your life is too insulated and boring. Period. Okay? When you give power to a word and claim that it's offensive, it means that you're a simpleton. Okay? Just saying that. So there's nothing.
If you get offended at words like horse or helicopter, I'm going to keep going back to. There's tons of other ones. If you get offended by people having Panda Lee in their name, you're a fucking idiot. You're a dunce. You're a low IQ individual. You're a pussy. All of it.
Wrong with the word retarded because it actually has a meaning. And if you use it properly, it's not offensive. All right? Now, if you're saying you're mentally slow and that's why you don't like games that have to make you think, I'm sorry to hear that. Really, I am. I'm actually very sorry to hear that because I love games that make me think. Like some of the better playthroughs that I think I've done over the years, for example, the game.
But you can't say you love games that make you think when every game that's pretty much ever required him to put together some sort of process has been handled by the chat. If you have to cross-reference your idea with the chat's idea, you did not think of it yourself. If you had to get confirmation and double-checked by a superior, you didn't do it yourself. I'm sorry. You're not cut out and doing the job by yourself if you still have your manager over your shoulder confirming the process. It's not how it works, man. We're trying so hard to try and get any sort of credibility thrown onto our gamer card here for some reason, and I'm not sure why. We're just lying.
Soma, okay? This is a game from the makers of Amnesia, and when Soma came out, I loved it, but everyone criticized it and said, oh, it was too boring or whatever. I was like, well, did you think about the actual topic of the game?
Right.
That basically, what is life? What is sentience? If someone were to copy your consciousness and make an AI clone of you, is that clone alive? Is that clone really you living on if you were to die?
Okay.
Is there an afterlife? Is there a soul? the human condition, the fact we're all going to die someday. I'm playing this game, and this game is making me think of all these insanely, deep, big-brained issues.
Oh my god. This but Soma's plot, if you ask me, and I've always thought this. I never played the game. I watched a playthrough. Shout out Best Friends, of course. Soma's plot is some real I'm 14 and this is deep Reddit energy. And DSP plays right into that by acting as though the idea of life being finite and afterlife, what is consciousness, acting as though the game is the first time this has been brought into his mind, and it's really making him question and ponder upon these ideas. It just goes to show you how empty-headed he truly is. None of that it should be a new concept to anybody, honestly, over the age of 16. If you have not pondered consciousness and the fact that you could die and what you're doing with your time and what it means to be alive and transferring consciousness in that's been presented to you in plenty of different medias and IPs at this point, like, you just don't really exist in the real world, I think. Like, you're not having your own thoughts and putting anything together. There's plenty of books, shows, TV, video games up to this point that have presented the idea for you to ponder upon. And if you have not, if you needed Soma to do that for you in the year, when did that game come out? Like 2015 is my guess. Like, you weren't thinking. You're not a human being. I'm sorry. You've been demoted.
People playing the game are like, where's the monsters? I don't get it. There's no monsters every 5 seconds? No, stupid. You're supposed to think when you play this game. You're supposed to be scared by the psychological horror of the human condition that we're all going through right now, and it went right over your head because you're a dunce.
And then to proceed and say, like, if you didn't enjoy the game because the narrative was slow, or you didn't enjoy the dialogue, or you weren't interested in the setting and the way that the gameplay played out, to then chalk that up to, oh, you didn't enjoy the game because you can't think about the actual story here, you don't understand the concept, you're an idiot. It's just short-sighted. It's completely missing the point, the possibility of what they could actually be saying. But that's what he wants. He just wants to shit on people and act like he's better, regardless of whether or not that is even the umbrage that they took in the first place.
Okay? So those are some of my favorite games, right? When I play them. I love those kind of games, all right? And sadly, sometimes the audience, I can't connect with them. And I don't know what I can do, I hate to say it's probably people who grow up without people who raise them properly to make them think. And what I mean by that is, I hate to say, I think in modern society, what's happening is a lot of people have kids just because they can have them and they think that it's their right, but then they don't actually take on the experience of being a parent. I don't even know if that's true. Are people having kids simply because they can and it's their right, or because they're too stupid to make decisions that would lead to not having a kid? I think the latter is low-key more truthful. I think they're just too stupid to make better decisions. I don't know that they're doing it like out of some weird spite. That seems odd to me. I mean, somebody is, I'm sure. One individual at least exists like that in the world, but don't teach the kids jack shit. They plop the kid down. It used to be plop the kid down in front of the TV, but now it's
that's
plop
what his
the kid
parents did,
down
of course,
in front of the smart device. Give them a phone or an iPad when they're a kid, and they just sit there staring at the fucking internet, not learning a goddamn thing. Can't even read when they're in high school, and then they come out of life acting basically like a non-sentient animal, just walking around following.
I don't know that you can call them that anymore, DSP. You can't take a hard stance on well, never mind. I'll drop the subject. I'll leave it alone.
Clicking memes and fucking around like they're stunted. How do you not like a game that makes you think? No, I need explosion. I need big boom 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 booms. What the fuck is wrong with you?
And this is just the closed-mindedness of DSP. Some people don't come to play video games to think, to be philosophied at. They don't come to video games to try and understand some deeper meaning or concept because, well, possibly they do it in other ways. They do it to TV, they get it from movies, or they actually, I don't know, read books, maybe even some really old classic style books. But anyway, like, a lot of people I don't think come to video games to have their morals questioned or whatever. They come for fun, they come for enjoyment. they come to hang out with their friends and have a good time, they can think about the condition of life and the meaning of it in their off time, not playing video games. You know, it's just weird to need video games to do this.
People who sat there and watched all the Michael Bay Transformers and TMNT movies and thought they were the best thing ever. Like, oh my God. I just don't get it, because video games used to be the thinking man's thing, the thinking man's hobby, right?
No. That was I'm pretty sure that the common sentiment for video games originally was that they were for children. That video games are entertainment for kids. Low IQ, stupid kids. That was, I believe, the common sentiment when video games hit the scene, brother. Nobody has ever said video games were the thinking man's game. I don't know that anybody looked at fucking Mario on the NES and said, you know what? We need a fucking 130 IQ scientist to clear the level 1-1, buddy. It's just impossible. The kids are never gonna get it. I don't think so, man. Just not. It's not reality. Thank you, Now Ronan, for the 5. Saying hilarious, coming from a dude that looks at chat because he can't figure out how to beat Nemesis in that RE3 remake, or couldn't look at a prompt in RE9. I agree. To get on his high horse, his fat ass high horse, and then start protesting to everybody else that they are dumber than him is just, it's clown world, really. Thank you for the 5. And thank you, Scrappy CC, for the 2, saying, I need Mario to tell me how to think and feel. Yeah. Well, and there's people that exist like that in the real world, which I guess is who he's talking to. He thinks those are his fans, the types to be like, Sonic would agree with me and my take on life and philosophy. Batman would do what I say. It's just cringe and gay and lame, dude. It's really embarrassing, but that's who he, I think, appeals to, really.
Why am I so
Those are his
upset with what has happened with modern fighting games? Because they don't
His
take
arms are
intelligent
blue.
thought to play anymore. To be good at fighting games back in the day, yes, you needed hand-eye coordination and you needed muscle memory, but you actually needed to be fucking smart. You had to be intelligent to play them.
You had to be intelligent in order to play fighting games back in the day. You had to be valedictorian. You had to have a college degree in engineering. Of course, you had to have helped construct a bridge in real life that is actively being suspended by cables in order to even step foot in the arcade. It's just the way it was back in the day. You guys wouldn't get it.
Strategy, you had to be thinking. You need to do react, but also have an overall overarching plan for when you play. Today, it's I watch video, I learn combo, I copy paste, pattern. You could be an idiot and play fighting games today at a competent level.
Jarmanides. Anyway, put it perfectly in chat. This is Rick and Morty fan behavior. Absolutely. This is, you need an IQ of 140 in order to enjoy Rick and Morty on a real level or whatever the fuck. This is literally that, just in the form of a fighting game talk, because it's unique to DSP, of course.
That's
also,
not
that was a
thing.
Great Jade impression.
You've taken away
You guys are right.
the thing that made them challenging and fun. You made them for the masses and you made them for stupid people, and now they're just boring. That's not good. You understand? We could have still had that kind of stuff over here, but still had the smart stuff here. Instead, you got rid of the smart stuff, pushed it to the side, and said, now everyone must play the stupid stuff. That's why Street Fighter 6 frustrates me.
But he can't figure out the stupid stuff. I just couldn't imagine having this complaint about something else. So you're complaining about the level of, schoolwork that people receive in school. And back in the day, we had to learn, algebra and geometry and calculus, and then they dumbed it all down. So now you only have to do addition. But then when you put DSP in the addition class, he can't fucking do any of it. He literally cannot keep up with the individuals that cannot multiply. But it's fine. It's just for dumb idiot dumbasses. I agree, dude. It all makes sense when you're retarded. Thank you, Fist of the Snort Star, for the 2. Saying admits that dumb people best him in his native game. Exactly, brother. You got it. Thank you for the 2.
So when I play a smart game that takes intelligence to understand and like, and my audience says, duh, I can't stand it, it's boring, and I can't get an audience for it, it's like, oh my God. At what point will the world become the world of Wall-E?
Shout out
everyone's just a
Wall-E.
fat blob sitting in a fucking...
Fun fact, when I was in school when Wall-E came out, and then we had like one of those half-day style days where they didn't actually make you like do any classwork. You just went into the auditorium and like watched a movie for half a day and then you left. We watched Wall-E in the gymnasium on a projector. It was sick. Dude, that banged hard as fuck.
robot
Wall-E's
chair
a
that
good
does
film.
everything for you, tubes up your nose and in your fucking ass, and you just sit there getting pumped all day.
For the record, none of that was in Wall-E. Nobody had tubes shoved up their ass and were getting pumped. That is, it's a children's film. It's very kid friendly. No one's getting pumped.
You don't do anything.
I honestly think it's kind of weird to imply that was the case, but
What's the point of fucking existing?
full Christian name. This bitch really thinks Wall-E and Soma are the high of philosophy.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's genuinely his understanding of deep philosophical content and concepts, is watching like actual children's films and thinking that, bro, this is deep as fuck. Oh my god, this is mirroring reality. Jesus.
Way. So, all that being said, where were we
Shout
even
out.
talking? What were we even talking about? Oh, Greg was saying he was too slow to enjoy turn-based games. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe one day you'll actually get an intelligence level and an attention span level where you can actually
Attention
sit down and
span
enjoy
level.
something that's a slow burn that makes you think. Not everyone has it. You know what? I don't necessarily think that it's your fault. It's probably your parents. It's probably society as a whole that's tried to milk you
Nice.
and turn you
nice.
into just some kind of a,
And there,
not even consciously thinking cog in a machine, right?
and look, this would be a based take from DSP if he wasn't so fucking stupid and the topic at hand wasn't playing video games. Like, look, base take to tell people that they're being made docile and tricked all of the time and constantly being scammed and shysted. Look, real, true, honest. But that's not why people aren't enjoying video games. That's fucking absurd, dude. Thank you, Crooked Hound, for the 5, saying intelligent people don't have to constantly explain how intelligent they are. It just shows, and his shows like a dim light bulb in swamp water. True and well articulated, Crooked Hound. Not from me, but from you, of course. I fucked it up.
That person breathe and
Thank you.
consume. We don't care if they think, as long as they keep.
And you also will notice that he just kind of shoved all of the blame off onto your parents and onto society, and I'm sure ultimately onto some other greater evil in the cosmos that made you retarded instead of just you making yourself retarded. Obviously, the blame has to be, shunted onto everybody else, because being held accountable and responsible for your own actions, your own inadequacies, is, again, just not in DSP's arsenal. He cannot fathom the fact that you can just be dumb through your own choices like he is in modern day.
Keep breathing and consuming, and we can get something out of it. It's pretty fucked up. Anyway, let's continue. Papa Slap Nuts did a $2 super chat. He says, Crimson Desert is cringe. We want Dragon Quest. Well, there you go. Don't worry, because Dragon Quest will continue. Okay? It will continue.
Oh, boy.
And then we
Thank
have
God,
Pizza
Dragon
Cake with
Quest.
a $5 super chat. If you love games that make you think, why are your playthroughs the most handheld playthroughs on the internet? If they're not, that's just what my detractors say. So you've just proved that you're retarded.
I mean, they are, though.
Like, you
just objectively, I've never seen anybody be backhanded. I've never seen anybody be handheld and backseat gamed as hard as DSP when it comes to doing genuine first-time playthroughs in a game. Never in my life have I seen that. I've seen tons of video game content over the years, decades even, tons of it, and just nobody has ever been handheld like DSP. It just doesn't exist. I'm sorry. And if it does, you're wrong.
actually proved that you're slow.
That's
You
my
need
that's my
someone
hard stance.
to Pied Piper play the pipe and guide you along your path, because you can't watch content and understand it for yourself. You're too dumb. You're too stunted. So you need some cult leader to follow
That's you.
to a conclusion about something, and that's what you've done. You're an idiot. Which kind of is proven by the fact that you sent me $5 to say that.
But he says that about detractors, talking about him being handheld. They're following the cult leader. They're the ones that are buying into the narrative. But he's doing the exact same thing the other direction. And it's clear as day. He's just too stupid to see it.
Oh, then the person actually sent me another $2 to try to insult me again. Thank you so much. I mean, people who send money to insult people are probably the dumbest people on earth.
True. That is a true statement.
Very nice.
Now, it wasn't in that clip, but there was a follow-up super chat somewhere in there where somebody asked him to name the 5 books that did not have film adaptations to them. And he called them stupid and said that that's like impossible because all of the good books, of course, get film adaptations. Because there's apparently never been good books in the history of the world that didn't get a film adaptation. According to DSP, that's his take, not mine. I would never say that because I think that's incredibly dumb. I think most nonfiction books get not made into movies, and nonfiction is a good genre to read if you don't know things. But aside from the illiteracy segment, which was obviously very important to have, and his audience just desperately needed it. The only other thing that really happened this week was Crimson Desert came out, which I don't know if any of you have played it. I was looking at it. It seems like it's got a lot of mechanics that are kind of put together in an odd way. I hear that the story isn't all that riveting. The characters are boring as shit. And the controls are a little wonky, but the mechanics themselves are interesting and fun to play in. And that's honestly a game that's kind of my speed, given that I don't ever really finish stories in games anyway. I just play around in the mechanics and sandbox for 100 years and then leave. So maybe it's a game for me. I don't know if any of you have played it. Let me know what you think. But DSP hyped it up week after week. This was going to save the business. Let's just say it how it is. This was supposed to save the business for DSP. This was the new hotness. Super wish listed on Steam. Everybody's been talking about it. It's got all these features, and then DSP played it, and surprise, surprise, he couldn't make it work.
Do people not understand, like, what makes games interesting anymore? Are they really this fucking retarded that they think this is fun? I killed 100 enemies by holding...
Thank you, Poper Lives 34 for the 17 months of support, saying big ups. Big ups to you. Hell yeah.
Right trigger. Wow. You made a great game. No, you didn't. You made this is garbage.
This is garbage.
$70 game. This is the combat system. Stand next to enemies, hold right trigger, kill 200 of them. That's your mission.
Right. Killing
like,
normal
Dynasty
ads.
Warriors is better than this. Dynasty Warriors, it feels more fulfilling than this combat. He hits you no matter what. He literally hits you no matter what.
So this is the great filter boss, to my knowledge. DSP is in an area that I from the reviews that I listened to, audio style, and the reviews that I read on Steam, I listened to 4 of them, and I read 10 or 12 at this point to try and gauge what this game actually is, because DSP is not helpful. This boss, or a lot of the bosses, filter a lot of people out. They're drastically harder than the common ads, the normal style enemies that you fight, and that oftentimes you have to come back later when you have different gear or different abilities, or you've leveled up, or whatever the case is. You've explored more of the world, the points of interest, engaged with more of the game. You come back to these bosses, and they're easier to defeat because you're a better character as well as a better player. But of course, DSP's not really interested in that whatsoever.
I don't fucking want to play this anymore. I think I actually hate the game.
I hate the game.
Like, this is the core mechanic of the game is this combat. The combat is fucking atrociously bad. I don't want to play anymore. So basically, the dodge is horrible, doesn't really do anything effective. You can't parry this boss because I'm trying. It doesn't do anything. The game is awful.
Incorrect Beans is saying that the devs themselves called the bosses stat checkers. Well, and that's, again, the way that every single review that I read and heard talked about the game. That these bosses are just, yeah, like you said, stat checkers. They're progress checkers. If you haven't got, enough abilities, enough consumables, or just straight up enough talent to do it, then you just have to go experience the other parts of the game until you come back. Which isn't, I don't think, an absurd ask of a gamer. I don't really understand how DSP's played, hundreds of RPGs and JRPGs over the years, decades of gaming, and this is a concept he's not willing to engage with. He doesn't understand. I just don't understand it. It's almost like he's a fake gamer or something. Isn't it not an RPG? There's no leveling system, but there are abilities that you unlock and gear that you level up.
You guys
so
don't like it. It's apparent.
Yes
you
and
guys
no.
have been bored all day. I've been playing it now for almost 5 hours. I got high views, literally no support. Everyone's bored to tears of the game, saying the game is boring as shit. The combat is atrociously bad. Nope.
Now, if you look at the top of the screen now, he says that he's gotten no support, but he's at $134. Still shy of the non-existent goal, obviously, but this is one of those situations where I'm pretty sure that he got paid during the pre-stream or before the game started, and then received nothing during the gameplay, or very little during the gameplay. So now there's no support despite him making $134 for not having a job, which is impressive nonetheless, but it seems like an odd thing to complain about. It's like moving the goalpost even.
Didn't do anything. What am I playing this for? No, really. What
In
am
the
I
middle of
playing
the
this
boss
for?
fight.
I don't have to play this. The game is awful. Yeah, I'm sure. That's why I fucking did it. The game sucks.
Okay, so Maddie's telling us that he reset the tips goal between the podcast and the gameplay. So that $134 is for the gameplay then, just straight up, which I honestly expected to be the case. He always resets it to hide his money. $134 for the gameplay, and then to say that nobody is supporting and the viewership is high, but no support, that's fucking wild, man.
First point in the game where you actually have to fight for real. The game
pathetic,
is terrible.
disgusting, embarrassing.
That is just atrociously bad. There's nothing fun about that game engine at all. When you fight regular enemies, they're all weaklings. You hold a trigger and you murder hundreds of enemies in a row. Then you get to a boss and none of your fucking attacks do anything.
Yeah, it's
Fuck
almost like
this
it's
game.
a boss or something.
Really? Well, let's do quick shout-outs.
And you heard him. I'm 5 hours into the game and it hasn't gotten better. And you heard beforehand that people told him that it took about 8 hours for the game to get interesting. And that's what every single review that I read and listened to also said, that the first 8 to 10 hours is just not very enjoyable because there's too many mechanics being introduced. So it's very slow. And once you get all of the mechanics actually in the game and you can use them, it really opens up and becomes more fun. But he didn't even give it the time of day. What a real gamer, dude. And then he's not going to refund it anyway because he's played too many hours, even though Steam would probably give it to him regardless.
Someone tipped a buck and says, apparently all the mob combat is that easy. However, the bosses all are like puzzles and require specific skills
Yeah, they're
to
like
beat.
puzzles.
Well, it sounds like a great game, doesn't it?
And this person's just misrepresenting the game in that it doesn't require certain abilities. It requires you to have abilities in the first place to make you stronger and just more powerful in general. But he's acting as though you have to have this one certain ability, like it's a puzzle boss. You have to have the sword to fucking throw the wind projectile at the giant in Dark Souls 3 style. Like that's the way he's understanding this comment.
I got a $3 tip. This person says, you might be too low level. It doesn't look like you unlocked the parry or the count ability, much less the high level one. How much size story have you done? We played for 4 hours. I did all story for 4 hours. And I said, okay, I'll do a side quest.
So we played for 5 hours, played only story, and then went to do one side quest and got felted and filtered. Like, just then go do something else. Play a different side quest. Explore different points of interest. Continue the story, question mark? Like, there's a million other things to do if he wanted to do them. But instead, he's just thrown his hands up in the air and said, the boss is too hard, guys. Fuck it. Game's terrible. Huge L.
Yeah, the game is, dude, that is just not fun. Like I said, here's the difference. If you play a FromSoft game, is it challenging? Yes. But it's because they set
in the
up
4
the
to 5
stage and the
hours,
enemies to
like you guys are saying, it's like 30 minutes of real gameplay because DSP's the slowest gamer in the history of gaming. So 4 to 5 hours realistically probably is only an hour and a half, 2, maybe 3 hours if you're lucky. If he really didn't receive support and wasn't engaging with chat and changing the fucking leaderboard, he maybe played 3 hours of gameplay and then just threw his hands up.
Be tricky. You have to have certain, skill sets, memorize patterns and things. Like, that's awful. So every enemy is generically boring. And then you fight a boss, and the boss is just godlike and crushes your nuts. Fuck you. Like, what is your game? Your game is awful garbage.
Game's awful garbage.
The best part is the graphics. Like, the graphics are...
Fuck me, dude. Come on. You can't tell people on Thursday that they're low IQ and they don't have the patience or retention span, and then when you play a game be like, yeah, the best part is the graphics, you guys. The game just looks so good. Like, of course that's the only fucking thing you care about.
quite good. I think the graphics are excellent. Outside of that, nothing else was good. Like, none of the gameplay was good. at all. The gameplay sucks. The graphics are nice. That's about it. So let's see. Stuart had done a £2 super chat. Says this is an offline MMO. This really is an offline MMORPG. Yeah, like that's exactly all it is. They took an engine they already had,
Okay.
and they said, "Hey, how do we just reuse all our assets to make a single player game and sell it for $70?"
Okay. He says that like it's a bad thing, by the way, as if having a dedicated engine to one studio that they actually know how to work in so that it's optimized and everything works the way that it's supposed to, as if repurposing the engine from one game to another is a bad idea. Heaven forbid people actually use an engine that isn't Unreal fucking 5, the shittiest engine I swear to God has ever graced the face of gaming. I'm just gonna be honest with you. If you put your game on Unreal Engine 5, fuck you. I hope you go to hell. Real talk. Sick of it.
Nothing in that feels like it should be in a single player game at all, in any way. That feels like a complete rip-off waste of time and money. There is no reason for that game to be sold for $70. It's just an asset swap. You could tell it's an MMO. Like I said,
Okay.
How would that game be fun? It would be fun if you played it with friends. If you were actually teaming up and you were going into the quarry, and each of you split up to kill a certain amount of enemies, and then you all go to the boss, and one person's like buffing your team, and one person's attacking the boss, and you know what I mean? That game is not a single player game at all. That is like it's exactly what I said too. It's gonna have all this content, and none of it.
And he says all of this with the utmost authority as well. This game just isn't fun at all. It's a single player MMO, and how could you enjoy this? Meanwhile, tons of people have put in tons of hours at this point. One of the reviews I listened to was 80 hours in, and he was having a blast. So this clearly is for somebody. But DSP is going to mark it out as objectively terrible and not a good game because he personally didn't enjoy it. And it's very odd to me that he would be saying the game would be better with friends when he doesn't know what having friends to play games with is even really like. I just don't know how he can say that would be a better experience when he doesn't know the experience, you know?
It's going to matter. Because the core gameplay, the core elements suck. The core gameplay, the combat is awful. So if the combat is awful, it doesn't matter what else the game has. Why do I need to fish? Why do I need to ride them out? It doesn't matter if their core gameplay elements stink. And it does. Like, that's so bad. The moment
he hasn't even experienced the majority of the fucking core gameplay elements because he didn't make it through the opening 8 to 10 hours, as was recommended by the people who actually reviewed the game. He doesn't know about the mechanics to tell you whether the game is good or not. He did not experience them. Just objectively, he didn't. There's no way he could give an acceptable review of this game, bro. Thank you, Black Shift Engine, for the 2. And there's no reason to give you $300 a day, DSP. It's true. It's true. This is what you get. Games that he doesn't even finish anymore. When is the last time DSP finished a game? How can you be invested in a playthrough in the story of these games and understanding the mechanics when you don't even know if he's going to continue to play them into next week? What's the point?
I got to the core gameplay,
for the
the
2.
game
I
sucked.
appreciate it. Black Shift.
Everything else, building up to it. All right, we're exploring. The moment we got to the combat, it's like, this is awful in both sides. Against the regular enemies and against the minions, or excuse me, against the bosses. It's all bad. Oh, Ganjoris, thanks for $2. He said, blinker check. Thank you for $2. And then we've got LT Fool with the $2.
And this is not, again, in defense of Crimson Desert. I haven't played the game. I don't actually know if it's good. I can only go based off of what I read and heard. But it's just crazy to me that he doesn't have like almost any abilities or any of the upgraded gear or anything from actually exploring the world and doing the optional content because he didn't experience any of it. But then to say that the combat is bad, well, maybe the combat is good when you actually, have things, abilities, perks, or whatever you want to fucking call them in the game, different weapons. Like, yeah, Call of Duty sucks if you only have a pistol, but the second that you get actual weapons with attachments that make the guns reasonable, it's a fun time. Maybe that's the case here, and he just wouldn't fucking know. Absolutely wouldn't know. Thank you, NWO News, for the 2, saying if he got that $600 on this game, it would be good. It would be his game of the year. If he got $600, if he received $1,000 today, yes, that day on Crimson Desert, we'd have been playing this at least into next week, obviously. The money would have carried the game.
Super chat to unlock the lock-on ability doing a side quest. What does that mean? I don't even know what that means.
Call of Duty still sucks.
It auto
Well,
locks on, but
that's
then
for
it doesn't-
different
it
reasons
doesn't
at
stay
this
locked
point.
on. It jumps between
It
enemies.
sucks
and
because
it's
they want
really
it to
messy.
suck.
You'll lose your direction when you're attacking. Dark Maggot with the $5 super chat says, "Can you go explore the world for a bit, make your own fun?" I mean, what's the point?
Because you
If
already bought it.
You know what this is the opposite of Avowed. Okay? Avowed. When you go and
Before we compare it to Avowed, just putting his full fake status as a gamer on display here. He spent $70 on a game, is actively streaming it. Everybody that I've seen talk about the game is talking about how the game is more enjoyable as a game and less so as a narrative and a story. And someone recommends, hey, why don't you go experience the actual mechanics? Why don't you go and make your own fun in this sandbox? The thing that a lot of people recommend doing. Why would I do that? Why would I bother engaging with the game in a more free-flowing way, in a more creative style, and not just play through the side quests in the main story like some sort of fucking on-rails, story-driven narrative? Why would I do that? Because it's fun and it's a game, you fuckhead. Again, just no credentials on his gamer status. This brother needs to log off indefinitely. Gaming needs to stop being made for him. Take the yellow paint out, please.
explore the world and you're doing the core gameplay of exploration, looting, combat, it's good. The moment you get to the story of Avowed, the game sucks. It's boring. In this case, it's the opposite, right? We were doing some of the story. It was kind of interesting. We were exploring the towns. It was fun. The moment you get to the core gameplay element, the combat.
And notice he enjoyed the part of the game that everybody everyone unanimously just agrees is pretty unremarkable. The story is unremarkable. The characters are not exciting nor interesting. But that's the part DSP liked because it required no input on his behalf, of course.
It's awful. It doesn't matter if you have a bunch of good parts. If the one core part of the game is awful, there's no point in playing it. And that combat is some of the worst I've ever experienced. Serious, I've never... It's 2026, and that is the combat they came up with. That sloppy
It's current
garbage.
year, you guys. NWO News with the two saying, if you're bored, you're boring. That's probably true. I'm not going to say it's true all of the time, but at least in most aspects, if you can't make your own fun and make the best out of a bad situation, yeah, you're right. It is because you're boring, because you're uncreative. I agree. Thank you for the two.
I could literally name 40 examples of better games, open world games with better combat than that. Right?
Okay.
Like someone said, dude, Shadow of Mordor.
Mordor.
Shadow of Mordor. What's that, 2012?
Mordor.
Did it better than this game. The combat's so much better than this game.
Okay. Congratulations.
Oh my God.
There's actually tons of games that had better experiences, better gameplay mechanics back in the day than games that they put out now. It's almost like they're catering to a different audience in the modern day DSP. It's almost like making this comparison at this point is tried. It's a little tired. Let her rest. Put her to sleep.
And then
People understand.
Camry EXE did a $2 super chat. Says the game is fish porridge.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Wow. I mean, yikes. This is modern game development.
Welcome to Mordor.
No, I'm not wasting any more time. What's the point? Why would I go back and boot the game another time? You guys weren't liking it. It was apparent you guys were bored to tears.
$134
And then we get to
on the
something
board.
that has action, and it's terrible. It's terribly designed. 52 minutes of killing generic enemies to do a...
Sorry, $151. We're not even at 134 anymore. We're at 151. We did hit the fake goal, at least for one stream today. And I was told he made $80 on the pre-stream. So we're at fucking, what, 230? Buddy, that's good money for doing nothing and not having a job.
camp takeover. Then you go to fight the boss, and the boss is busted beyond belief. They're morons. These people are fucking idiots. They don't know how to make a game that's worth playing. That's terrible. I literally can't believe all that hype. Because again, what did they do? They just kept saying feature, feature, feature without actually showcasing the core elements of the game. LT Fool did a $5 super chat. His abilities like lock on and countering and parrying. You need to do a side quest in order to unlock. We already have countering and parrying. It was in the game from the beginning. There was no quest to get it. I've been parrying.
I don't know who's truthful and honest here. Maybe he's talking about like a leveled up version that he could have used on the boss. Like I said, I didn't play the game. I don't know, but I wouldn't doubt that that's a feature.
All the regular enemies. It just doesn't parry the boss. It doesn't work. The parry just doesn't work against the boss at all.
Right,
He
which makes
ignores
me
it.
think that there's like a leveled up parry or something to block or to parry like unparryables. That would be my my guess, just given off of the context here.
Then you get a block, and the block eats all your stamina up.
You think that he was always going to rage quit this just to play SF6 so that he could get more rank points before the competition got tougher on Alex? My thoughts? I mean, I think he wanted to play Street Fighter 6 anyway, but I don't know that he was always going to quit this. I think there was a lot of aspects of this game that weren't designed for him, and he fell for it instantly. Like the fact that there's actually puzzles in the game, the fact that there's a lot to do. I hear it doesn't hold your hand. There's a lot of mechanics that you can use to kind of circumvent some of the other mechanics in the game, like slinging yourself off of trees to get around the world instead of using mounts or sprinting or going through the points of interest or whatever. I think all of that is just outside of his wheelhouse. But he instantly
Yikes.
got filtered by a boss that was too hard, and yeah, he had something better he'd rather go do.
All right, well, sadly, I guess that's it for Crimson Desert. Damn, that game sucks. What a shame. Because the open world looks interesting and vibrant. It looks like there's a lot of content. The graphics are good. But if your core gameplay element is garbage, is ass, the whole idea of normal enemies are just pushovers, hold a trigger, beat everything in the game,
Okay.
and then get to a boss. The boss is like a fucking insano level difficulty puzzle where you either need a special ability or you got to cheese it to win. Fuck this game. Why am I going to waste time on it? 100 hours of boredom and garbage combat? No. Why is it that game...
And he's completely written off the fact that it could get any better, that any of these mechanics could be, expanded upon and refined throughout getting, more abilities or different bosses or different arenas or anything like that. It's just completely outside of the realm of possibility for him. The game cannot get better.
15 years
This is the way
ago,
it has to
10
be.
years ago are so much better than games in 2026. I don't get it. How did game devs back then know how to make a game, and today they don't know anything? It's like they've erased a decade of experience of good games and said, let's just make garbage. Let's just push shit out of our ass.
Well, it's the people that own those companies, obviously. I don't know why we're pretending that this is brand new. It's the outsourcing. It's appeasing the people that hold stock in the company, the shareholders, if you will. It's the people at the top who don't want you to make games for people that play games. They want you to make money for people who have. They want you to make games for people who have money. Like, it's really not all that complicated. Again, it's just a tired, talking point in the games industry. But we're going to act brand new, I guess. Yeah, the enshittification, of course, of everything that you've ever loved because you didn't gatekeep hard enough. This is why I'm telling you. If you enjoy things, don't tell people. Don't let them get into your hobbies because they will inevitably ruin it with their vapid consumerism. It's terrible. Thank you, Val Raven, for the 5. Saying, by his dented logic, you should be able to watch 7 minutes of a DSP stream and make a determination of all of his streams based solely on that. Well, yes. Yeah, and I would argue that actually is more apt when used on him than it is for video games, because DSP has undeniably been the same person for about 18 years straight consecutively, maybe even longer given his SRK forum days. Video games ebb and flow as you progress through them in the way that they use the mechanics, and they can change, and they can even patch them and change a bunch of different stuff. So, like I said, it's actually more apt against him. Thank you, Val Raven, for the 5 and the point. I appreciate it.
And then sell it for $70. I don't know, man.
We're waiting. We're checking chat.
All right, fuck this game. Sorry,
Fuck this
I was
game.
hoping it was going to work. I mean, that's why I wanted to play it for 7 hours today. But I'm not going to continue to play something you guys don't like, and is obviously there's a reason why the reviews are so mixed, right? Like I said, this is the kind of game I feel if you just want to play and fuck around with the world and immerse yourself in an open world, it's probably great.
Hell
but the
yeah,
moment you
dude.
get back to the main gameplay, it's like, oh.
If you enjoy experiencing all of the mechanics and enjoy playing in a sandbox and using the mechanics how you wanted to use them, maybe this game is for you. But if you want to go like the core mechanics of, I guess, combat, fuck that, dude. Bad game.
What a bad taste. And the thing was, 3-4 hours I was playing it, it wasn't that bad. And then the moment we tried to do that combat mission, it's like, oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. All right. Well, what a shame. $70 down the goddamn drain.
Get a
for piece of
refund.
garbage game.
Get a
Do I
refund.
recommend it? No, absolutely not. Go play something with a better combat engine than that. Because again, the world seems like promising, but the moment that you start playing the combat, you're like, why am I playing this? You know, you just want to play something better immediately when you start fighting with the combat. Like, oh God, this is it.
Well, exactly, Sam. Any adversity and he crumbles. That's exactly what happened. The second that he actually had to use his brain, the second he had to think, to engage with the mechanics on a level other than, you know, closing his eyes and mashing the button, he was pissed. Absolutely upset. How dare they make him engage with the game?
What a shame. What do you mean I can refund it? I played it for 5 hours, 4.7 hours. There's no refunding it.
They'll refund it. They'll
I don't care
let you
anyway.
slide.
The point I'm making is I wanted to have a good new game in the rotation. This game is garbage. It's ass. All right. Well, that's it for Crimson Desert. Sorry, everyone. It sucks. Yeah. Shame. It really is. It's a shame. Now, here's
Is
the
it
thing.
a shame?
It's early.
It's such a weird, like, way to posture after this whole ordeal, if you ask me, to pretend as though you're actually, like, genuinely disappointed, and you think that it's like shameful that they put out this game that, by the way, tons of people are enjoying. It no longer has mixed reviews on Steam. They're all mostly positive. But just to pretend like he gives a shit, that he actually wants games to be good and better, he doesn't. He wants fucking slop story games that you don't actually have to engage with, because that's the least amount of work on his behalf.
And
We
I was
all
gonna stream
know. I
till
don't have to tell
9:30.
you.
So we have a little bit of extra time if you guys want to do something else, and I would appreciate it if you could stick around and we do something else, because as you can see, this is supposed to be all my streaming for today. And yeah, the stream basically has done like enough support as if I only streamed 3 at 4 hours. It's crazy. No support for most of the streams. People were bored to tears of the game, which I can't disagree.
$150 on the board, though. Nobody was supporting.
We could do Street Fighter 6 if you want. We could do some Street Fighter 6. That's the only thing I can think of. What else could we possibly do
only
right
thing
now?
I
There's not
can
enough
think
time.
of.
If we jump into anything else, people will be upset. Street Fighter 6 is like the one thing you can jump into, but I don't know what I would do. I don't know if I want to do more Alex, try to get him to master, or we
Now,
could
you
do-
guys know I am not a Street Fighter enjoyer. I don't even enjoy the Street Fighter style Salt. I'm gonna say it for the 9,000th time. I'm really upset that Street Fighter is back. I hate that we're giving it the time of day. They're arguably my least favorite streams. All fighting game streams from DSP are some of my least favorites. Just nothing of value there.
more Alex, try to get him to master, or we could try one of my mains and see the differences, because Honda changed, Dalsim changed, and Lily all changed. Yeah, people want Street Fighter. All
Yeah,
right.
people want it. They're asking
Maybe I'll just try to
for
get
it.
to Alex to master. We got 90 minutes. Maybe I could continue my streak. All right. Let's change it up. I got to pee really bad, but let's change it up then. What a disappointment. I just don't understand anymore. What
He's
are
so
these game
upset.
devs doing? I just don't get it. How did you make that and think that was good? You made that game, you played it, and you're proud of it. That combat. You think that combat you should be proud of.
Mostly positive reviews on Steam, by the way. The game sold like fucking like crazy, like 2 million copies or something from a MMO maker. Is I mean, it's big money. Let's not gonna fucking sugarcoat it.
You should be put into a
Like
padded
the lesson
room.
that they learned is that game sold gangbusters, and that they're destined to make another game eventually. Like that's what they've learned.
Immediately should be thrown into a padded room. Well, are you crazy? They're making games like High Guard, Marathon, and this. This is the new game development for modern era, I guess. Holy fucking shit.
Did he get gifted Crimson Desert? No, he paid for it, full $70.
It's not
But he
like
won't. He
him-
won't try and get the refund because he believes that Steam is hard stanced on 2 hours being the cutoff for refunds. That's just not the case. I've gotten refunds for games that I've played for 8 hours before. They do not care.
Make a good game. I just played Resident Evil 9. That
Granted,
game
I
was
do
outstanding,
lie
albeit a little
when I
easy.
refund. I
Like
always tell
told
them
you
it
guys, I
doesn't
did
run.
think it was a little on the easier side.
I never just tell them I
But
don't like the fucking
You can
game.
make good games if you have talent. I just don't think that the talent exists anymore. I really don't. I believe like the talent is gone. That all the talented game devs, I don't know where they went, but they're certainly not around anymore. Where are they? Where are the games? I guess they all work for Capcom in regards to Resident Evil and stuff.
Yep.
'Cause-
all the good game devs work at Capcom, guys. I mean, look at Street Fighter and Resident Evil 9. Those are the only good games anymore. So all the good game devs are there. Obviously, the two games that he subjectively enjoyed and that arguably a lot of people would not enjoy. I'm not gonna say most, but a lot of people wouldn't enjoy.
Man, you tell me where the talent has gone.
Oh, they're out of the games industry, by the way. If you were wondering where the talent went, they left. They're gone. They probably got fired because they didn't want to make slop, or they gave up on all their morals and made slop to feed their family, which I can't blame them for, but I can.
The state of the gaming industry is fucking sad, man.
I
We're
agree.
sad.
I agree.
All right, I'm gonna tell everyone I gotta pee really bad, but
And
I'm
I
gonna
hate,
post
I
up that.
hate agreeing with DSP because he'll say things that are true, but for all of the wrong reasons. Every justification he has for saying that the games industry is shitty and that everything is falling apart and been and shitified is true. I mean, the reasons he has are wrong, but the statements themselves are true.
We're switching to Street Fighter for the last 90 minutes of the stream because basically that game is awful. I agree. Jay Kuma says it seems like all the talent has now gone to indie developers. I have to agree with you.
Wow.
It seems like the indie developers are making the best games, and these other companies, they have no concept of what's good in a video game anymore. They've lost the fucking sauce, right? They've lost the recipe.
They lost the sauce.
They have no concept of what is entertaining anymore.
They say it's better to come in the sink than to sink in the cum, and that's where they're at right now in the games industry. Just sinking.
Ray Race, thank you for $5. He said, I wasn't able to watch this stream yet. I've heard the first 10 hours are tedious, but the game gets much better. Oh, no. I was actually enjoying the world, the graphics, exploration, and the story. The moment we got to combat, the game's terrible. The combat is the core element you're going to have to do the most in the game, and it's atrociously bad. So I just have no desire to ever play it again. There's much better things I could be doing with my time.
And Waffle Bunny, you've got a good point, and I was actually just talking to Inked about this before the stream started. Indie is being sloppy too. I genuinely think that if you looked at indie is a quantity over quality game. There's like 2 million fucking indie games released over the course of a year, and because you personally only sifted through about 25, 30 of them maybe, and you were, recommended a couple of good ones, so 1 or 2 out of the 30 are good. You're like, oh, indie games are fucking top notch. Maybe you found 5. But if you were to actually have to experience all 2 million of them, you'd understand that indie's also a fucking slop fest that needs to be reined in a little bit. But, you got to take what you can get out here. It's rough.
Half-baked garbage that feels like they stole
all
it from
the
an
asset
MMO
flips, all
and
of the
tried to slap it
non-mechanics
together.
that
It's
are in
just
these
trash.
fucking indie games.
It really is. Like, I'm just so tired of this shit. I wish the sad fact is the game is gorgeous, yet no one's gonna play it.
No one's
No,
going to
really
play
blows.
it. Sold 2 million copies in 24 hours.
Now
Don't
I
worry
have
about
to make all these thumbnails and shit after Street Fighter tonight. Oh, I'm gonna be stuck in this office super late because this fucking idiot's made a terrible game. You fucking morons! How do you not know how to make a game in 2026?
And now he's blaming Crimson Desert for him having to make thumbnails. What do you mean? You had to make the thumbnails anyway. What are you fucking talking about? How are we going to blame the game for this? You either made it for Crimson Desert or you made it for Street Fighter. But it's fucking Crimson Desert's fault, you guys, that I have to do this for my job that I decided to have. I'm my own boss.
Look, the visuals, they're beautiful. Oh, nice. Oh, vibrant town, tons of content. Oh, cool. Oh, combat.
He also says, how do you not know how to make a game like he's ever made anything worth a shit in his entire life? There was not one product that DSP has ever had a hand in that was worthy of anyone's time nor their money. In reality, he's never made a game. He's never, he's never woodworked and created a fucking product. He's never done anything. He's never had a hand in anything that was worth anything. But how do you not know how to make a game? As if you could just slap it together and it be good. And thank you, NWO News, for the 2. saying devs of game forcing him to stay locked in a room. That must be the case. It's true. I didn't take that into consideration. The Crimson Desert devs are at the door and they have the gun. Watch out.
Utter fucking dog shit, like liquid shit, shooting out of a fucking rancid anus. What is wrong with you?
Ah, yes, the scat humor.
You didn't even try to make that combat
Thank
good.
you, angry video game nerd.
Zanzibar Nights, I quit that game because it sucked. I didn't quit for any other reason. The game is terrible. As soon as I got to the combat, I was like, this is terrible shit. I spent an hour grinding on garbage on minions.
Dicks shooting out of
the
a
first
butthole.
boss is a joke.
It's terrible.
That's why I quit the game. You can shut up now. Thanks. Good evening, everyone. DSP here.
So
welcome to the
obviously,
daily.
before he gets into the daily cope, the daily crap, whatever you want to call it, it wasn't just enough to like change the game halfway through and complain about it a bunch and shit on the developers and say they don't know how to do their job and all of this. It wasn't enough to just do it live on the stream and change game. Of course, we have to do it in the daily wrap as well. We can't just let it go. We have to explain to everybody what the problem was. And we're starting, of course, in siege mode, arms crossed, just completely disappointed, upset, angry.
Wrap for what was Thursday, the 19th of March, 2026. A special day, because today I said, hey, it's my last day of the week. I can't be here tomorrow. Let me invest a lot of time into playing Crimson Desert, the new release. But of course, they decided to release the game at 3 p.m. Pacific time.
God forbid they release a game inconvenient to DSP's own personal schedule that he made up. God forbid. So fucking stupid. What I mean,
This release time I've ever seen. So in order to play enough of this game to make
this would be me if I was retarded, because every game is released at like noon on Steam when they update the store page. This is me when I'm seething that I'm at work and I can't play the new hotness that I wanted to purchase. If I was that retarded, this would be me, but I'm not.
make a judgment about it because I'm not going to be here for 2 days. I changed my whole schedule around. I did a level 1 podcast in the morning, ended the stream, rushed to eat food, and then came back to play Crimson Desert at 3 in the intentions of playing Crimson Desert from 3 to 9:30 p.m., doing a special review and ending the day. I was fully intending to come back on Sunday and play it again. That ain't happening. Ladies and gentlemen, the podcast today went well. Lots of stuff. We determined what the next DSP tries it's going to be. We determined what the birthday...
Can you guys tell me what the next DSP tries it is going to be? I watched the stream and I genuinely can't recall. And now I'm just curious because I don't think he tells you in this segment. What is it? It's something stupid. Chick-fil-A. It's Chick-fil-A. Thank you. I figured it out.
Marathon will be, and a lot of other fun, chill talk. It was a 2-hour show. Very entertaining. I hope you'll give it a look. We started playing Crimson Desert at 3...
Thank you
I'm
so
a
much.
God. How can you kill a god? What a grand and intoxicating innocence.
To time and time again, too, for becoming a member of the 60 Skulls. Big ups, brother. I really appreciate it.
PM.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
The game has a lot of positives. Great graphics, great open world, great quests and stories so far, great traversal similar to Breath of the Wild, and puzzles similar to Breath of the Wild. But in a nutshell, the combat is atrociously bad. It feels unfinished. It feels wonky. It's a joke against weaker minion characters, normal enemies. You are super powered and you tear right through them, and it's boring as heck. So repetitive and so bad.
And I hear, so he says this, and he says this very confidently and very, strongly. He's hard in the sand on this one. I hear that this is not the case for the rest of the game. By the way, that the ads actually do get a little more difficult, and the combat gets more engaging with them, specifically because the way that the combat works, there's a bunch of different combos that you can do, and you have to like memorize the actual like button combination in order to do them, so you can like suplex the enemies, and you get executions that feel really good and are really cool. And obviously they're satisfying to pull off because you did them yourself by pressing the buttons. It's not just like a Rise Son of Rome type deal where you press Y and get the execution. But whatever.
Against bosses, the bosses are all insane, superpowered freaks, 10 times better than you. They can literally insta-kill you if you're not careful. It's like Dark Souls times 10, and the game doesn't tell you in any way, shape, or form that you basically need to do certain missions and stuff before you fight them, because apparently you need to get certain abilities and power-ups in order to beat them.
And he's still saying certain abilities and power-ups, because it to me, again, it still sounds like he's under the assumption that these bosses legitimately require certain abilities rather than just having abilities in general that make you stronger and more capable. He's completely misrepresenting what is actually the case in the game as some sort of a very strange cope. And yes, all of this is from one boss and very few normal enemy encounters. Again, he did not get through the 8-hour recommended window in order to actually experience all of the mechanics in their full-fledgedness.
I'm not going to talk any further about the game. Why? Because I made a special video that was 15 minutes long that's on this channel. You should see it tonight. It'll be the highlighted video. That's my final thoughts about the game. After playing this game for 6 hours, here's the deal. No one really liked it, being honest.
Nobody likes it,
Most
obviously.
people watching the stream were like, this is not very good. If the moment you get to combat, the game is either super boring or super annoying. What's the point? And that's the truth. If this is an open world game that's going to be 100 hours and 50 of it are going to be combat, do you really want to be bored or annoyed 50 hours out of the 100?
That's every DSP gameplay playthrough, by the way. Being annoyed for at least 50% of it is just part and parcel for DSP. So, yes and no, I guess. No more than usual.
No. And that's why the reviews are so torn. People who loved the open world and fell in love with it really liked the game. But the people who had to play the combat, like, oh, the combat's terrible. Yeah. So, if you can forgive the combat, you'll like it. If you want a more in-depth explanation, watch the 15-minute video. All right? But we were done with it by 8 p.m. We were like, wow, this game sucks. So what are we going to do? So I impromptu flipped over and I played about 90 minutes of Street Fighter 6 ranked with Alex. And we got him from low 3-star diamond up to low 4-star diamond. So that was good. Probably another.
No way, you guys. He got up 1 rank level in the time that he played Street Fighter. That was well worth our time. I'm sure everybody in the chat was fucking geeked. They were so excited.
Another stream we'll get to 5-star. Maybe another stream we'll get to master, unless I get a win streak, in which case we'll get to master. We're getting there. Okay, we are. So, good stuff. And I hope that you guys will check out the Crimson Desert footage, the mini review, and the Street Fighter 6 footage. The good news is, by the end of the day,
why would he hope that they check out the Crimson Desert gameplay footage from the Raw stream? Other than to get money, of course. Why would he hope that they watch that? If the game isn't good, he didn't enjoy it, the people didn't like it, he felt like he was wasting their time, why would you recommend people go watch that? It seems pretty transparent that that's purely like a financial gains type recommendation.
a longer stream was well supported. So, I'm not complaining. Just, I'm sad because I wanted Crimson Desert to be a playthrough that was going to work out, and no one really liked it. It was super boring and not very good because the combat was completely unfinished, wonky mess. And so, we now got to figure out what we're doing next week. Here's the deal. I'm off tomorrow, and I'm off Saturday. Okay? I'm going to return on Sunday. We'll do a
Bullshit. This guy gets 2 days off a week. I thought he was your Joe Average gamer who works super hard and is always here and pertinent and I was gonna say periodical, but that's not a thing. He's punctual. He's reliable, responsible, accountable, or whatever the fuck. I thought that was him. Now he gets 2 days off. That's not a blue collar worker.
Level 1 podcast in the morning. Let's do Dragon Quest VII Reimagined on that stream, and let's do RimWorld as the late stream. Okay? Then I think what we need to do for next week is figure out what the new game is. So
yeah,
we have
being
options.
lazy like
We can play
Kino. He's
Pokemon
made
Fire
too much money. He's not showing up to stream 6 days a week anymore. What the fuck?
Red or Leaf Green. We can play Pokemon Pocopia, but we got to talk about it and figure it out. The thing is, I'm okay with either. To be honest, I'd probably prefer Pokemon Leaf Green or Fire Red, reason being, it's an original Pokemon game, the original one. I haven't played it since the 90s. It'll be awesome to see a new version of it. And I know people love the Pokemon Chill playthroughs. They show up for them, they engage, they support with them. So it's probably what I'm going to do, unless people convince me otherwise.
Please, somebody fucking convince him otherwise. I'm begging you. I'm pleading. I'm crying out to the heavens. I'll spend Sunday praying that this is not the case. I don't want any more fucking Pokemon. I'm tired of it, boss. I don't like Pokemon normally. I never played Pokemon as a fucking kid. I don't want to see this grown-ass man playing Pokemon and pretending to enjoy it. I'm tired. I want to go home.
I think that's what we're doing for next week. And we'll balance that with
also coming immediately fucking going into Pokemon after coming off of that rant about how people don't enjoy turn-based RPGs and they're too stupid for the slow-paced, no explosion style gameplay, and we're running to Pokemon. This is just setting up to fucking step on the rake again. And then we're going to complain about it next week and talk about, oh, you guys wanted to see fucking Leaf Green and then nobody showed up for it. What's going on? I expect to make more money.
Or Slay the Spire 2, some indies at night. I have a new indie game I want to check out. Plus, we're probably going to take stuff off my wish list and do nights of that. And
Fuck, you guys are right. It's to name Pokemon. I totally forgot. Oh my god. Now I feel dented. I feel stupid. Because I forgot the grift. I genuinely was thinking about video games instead of all the money we could make. My bad. I forgore the main goal of this channel. Thank you to Pasta Maker for the 2, saying he'd prefer Fire Red Leaf Green because you can pay $20 to name book that. Yeah, right, exactly. Exactly. Thank you, Skirt Cobain, for the 2. I really appreciate it. Saying he can only he only wants the dents who give 20 to name them. Right. I agree. Thank you guys for sending me money to tell me that. I appreciate it. Big ups.
If he tries it, we'll return
Really
next week. So it's
looking
going to be a great week next week. Okay, it will be. It just sucks that Crimson Desert feels like an unfinished, half-cooked mess where so many aspects of it are great, and the one core aspect of combat is fucking terrible. That they really dropped the ball on it. All right?
Right.
So, guys, I'm out of here. I have a lot of thumbnails and uploading to do. I hope you all have a great couple of days away. I will see you all on Sunday when I get back with the Level 1 podcast, Dragon Quest VII, RimWorld, and then this week we'll figure out what the new game is. We'll talk about it on Sunday, okay? Thank you all so very much. Have a good night. I will see you Sunday. Peace out. And now, folks, it's time for me to get to the meat of this, which is what you're going to want to know.
This is the 15-minute style review that he made or whatever. The big ups to Snort Hogan, of course, for putting all of this together. The gameplay, the daily shit, the daily crap, sorry, and this very fun and robust review. I did not want to get it all myself. Cloudbreaker with the 2, saying Atlas getting handheld in chat. SMH, it's true. I guess I'm just as bad. I'm guilty of all of the things. It was all projection the whole time. You got me.
I feel that
Thank you for the
Crimson
2,
Desert is a game that's
Cloudbreaker.
going to excel
My
if
bad,
you
my
focus
bad.
on open world exploration and RPG elements, even though there's no real experience points or leveling. I think that's where it shines. However, where the game flops hard and falls flat on its face is the insanely undercooked, really underdeveloped, really crappily tacked together combat system. This game's combat is terrible.
And I really just can't believe how hard he's harping on this combat system that he barely experienced. He was sat there telling you that this was those ads that you saw him fighting in the quarry or whatever that had there was too many of them spawning or whatever, that was the first combat encounter, and then he went into this boss. This is the way he was telling the story initially. But there was obviously combat before that. But he has experienced like none of it, and yet he's so confident that this is the biggest shortcoming to ever befall a game.
Okay? From the get-go, when you start fighting, you think, oh, it's kind of like a game. You have to tap the button, do combos. Oh, no. You'll quickly realize, wait, I don't need to hit the button. No. You just aim for an enemy with a thumbstick, and you hold either right shoulder or right trigger, and you get auto combos. And you might say, well, that's must be not how you really do it. No, that's how you really do it.
Well, that's how he really did it. That's how DSP really played the game. He found the easiest thing to do and then did it, and then was upset that the game wasn't more engaging than he was making it. You know? Like, you can just spam X in a fighting game on the gamepad and throw your punch, and you could beat someone like that, or you could actually put together, you know, an actual combo and make it interesting and fun to do. But that would be entirely your own prerogative. You couldn't hold it against Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat because you decided to win the fight only throwing high punch or only doing low leg sweeps. That's your fault.
You just do auto combos. Now, there are special moves, things that'll break guard, things that will knock down an enemy or whatever. But for the
Sounds
most
an awful
part,
lot like a
any
jump
of the normal
R2.
enemies
True.
you run into in this game are insanely under.
Yeah, and Nexu is absolutely correct too. Calling Devil May Cry 2 a bad game because you can just spam the pistols the whole time. Like, yeah, I guess if that's all you want to do and that's the only way you can justify playing it, be my guest and say it's bad. But that's your own prerogative, man.
Powered repetitive enemies where all you do is run into them, hold a trigger or hold the shoulder, and you overwhelm the enemy. When you kill an enemy, you gain stamina back. So as long as you kill an enemy with a combo, you get full stamina, you turn to the next enemy, you attack them, kill them, turn to the next enemy, attack them, kill them. The only time you ever have to do something different is if you have an enemy that with a big reach, like for example, a spear or some arrows coming down, in which case in the middle of your combo, you press the dodge button, And then you just continue to hold the attack button again, and it starts over, and you kill the enemy. It's insanely bad. Now, that's combat against normal enemies. It's super boring, super repetitive.
Super boring,
You feel like you're
repetitive.
a god right from the beginning of the game.
Didn't engage with half of the mechanics or any of the fun combos that you could put together. I mean, imagine somebody tells you that you could literally suplex your enemy and like do running clotheslines and shit, and then you decided to just hold the one button instead and do auto combos. I'd put him on the wall, in all honesty. If it were up to me, like, that's the type of mentality, that's the type of behavior, I wouldn't put up with it. If I was in charge.
Don't know why. So if you think this is Dark Souls or whatever, no.
That's where
absolutely
I'm
not.
drawing the line,
combat
folks.
is atrociously bad compared to a game like that. It's just way too easy. However, the flip side of this is when you actually get to fight a boss. Okay? The bosses in the game are all designed to be like Dark Souls. Like, no lie, they all have super armor, they all have insane amounts of health, they all hit like a truck and will kill you in 2 hits.
So it's like a boss or something. Like, maybe less so in Dark Souls, and maybe more so like in a bunch of different games throughout all of history since like almost the beginning of games. Weird, odd, strange.
What is
Never
that? How
heard
does
of
that make
bosses
sense?
before
It
Dark
doesn't.
Souls.
If all the regular combat is just hold a trigger and just chug through everything and melt it like butter, why are all the bosses super powered ultra fights? Bad game design. Like, literally, that's your answer. And it's funny because I get
You know, legitimately, this is the type of critiquing and like vitriol I came with back in the day. I was playing that TMNT like beat 'em up game on the PS2. You guys remember that one? I don't remember what it's called. It might have just been called TMNT. But anyway, there was a boss in there, and I had it was in a sand level, I recall, and I got my ass beat there a bunch. And this is the type of complaining I would do. I'd be like, oh, I'm the best god gamer ever, and I can't beat this stupid fucking boss. Oh, what is it? It's bad game design, dude. It's just bad game design. It couldn't just be that I was bad, but I was also like a small child. So
to this first boss, and I'm like, this is so weird. The auto combo barely does any damage, and if I hit him with 1 or 2 hits, he interrupts with a super armor move that takes 3/4 of my life. So unless I go into this fight with ridiculous amounts of healing and I just tank it out,
I think that was the
how am I
difference.
supposed to kill this guy? There is a parry. There is a parry that it's a block button, and when you block, you use your shield, and it reduces your stamina. Or if you time it
Slice and
correctly, you'll
dice.
parry the attack away from the smaller enemies. It works all the time against the smaller enemies. And again, not only are you auto comboing, but you're just parrying, auto comboing, dodging, auto comboing. Too easy. Against the bosses, the parry doesn't work. You'll time it; it doesn't matter. The enemy, they ignore it, and they just go right through it. So this is a guy who has 2 drill arms, right? And every time he goes to attack, I try to dodge. If I dodge, great. But if, let's say, I attack and I try to dodge after the first attack, he'll just drill right into me and take 3/4 of my life with 1 hit.
Okay.
Okay, let me try to parry. It doesn't.
Again, in the reviews that I read and fucking listened to, people were explicitly telling their audience, hey, if you play this game, you will be expected, just the way that it's made up, to engage with the mechanics. Consumables, you do have to go out of your way to craft if you're not going to, just be a god gamer. You're going to be expected to go out and craft these consumables, these health potions, because they're going to hit you like a fucking Mack truck. And sometimes you are just going to have to face tank it because you're just not, like I said, if you're not going to be a god gamer and you're going to face tank, you're going to need the resources to do such. But DSP would never go out of his way and go and do with that because that's too much game to play.
Doesn't work on this boss. Okay, let me just block. All your stamina's gone. Now you can't move. Huh? What is going on? And so as I'm playing this combat, it's explained to me by my chat, this is the #1 reason people don't like the game. Every boss is a ridiculously overpowered puzzle fight. What you need to do is go through the game and unlock abilities through the story. But when you play through the story, you'll get more combat abilities, and each boss is kind of weak to one ability. So I was explaining, well, if you get the Charge Palm, which I have, but if you happen to upgrade it to level 3 by doing optional missions and or doing story and getting enough of the upgrade items and knowing to put the upgrades into the Charge Palm, you could just stun this guy over and over and then wail on him and he can't do anything.
But this is where he's losing the plot, though. It's not about knowing that you're supposed to put it into Charge Palm. It's about having a character that's fleshed out with abilities that you know how to use and can, put into your arsenal of combos and try them out on the different bosses and find out what they're weak to. That's a game. That's what games do. It's not about having prerequisite knowledge. You're allowed to fail. You're like allowed to struggle and have difficult times and have to engage again with the mechanics. Why does he think that you're just obligated to succeed on your first attempt and never have any strife? You're supposed to know all of these things. I mean, you do if you look them up, but you don't have to. I would argue you're playing less of a game if you do.
That's how you're supposed to beat him. Oh, well, what if I don't have the charge palm level 3? Well, then leave and come back. Wait, what do you mean? No, I want to fight this boss. No, too bad. Leave and come back. Wait, no, that doesn't make sense.
And yeah, more ways to beat him than just charge palm. Nexu, I'm sure there's tons of ways to beat a bunch of the different bosses and use a bunch of the different abilities in a round so that you just, beat them with ease. But because someone specifically mentioned charge palm about this one boss, again, DSP thinks this is some sort of puzzle boss, where if you don't have these specific abilities for these specific encounters, they are unbeatable. That was his understanding of what was told to him.
So there's really no way to viably beat him? No. Oh, so you're telling me in order to play Crimson Desert, I have to openly explore this giant world, and every time I run into a boss, if I don't have the means to beat him, leave. And come back much later when apparently I've leveled up more with these artifact items and I have better abilities and better higher level abilities, then I can beat them. That's stupid.
That's every RPG and I think JRPG almost in existence, at least all of the good ones I've ever played. The idea that you have to leave and come back to something when you're more leveled up, like grinding in a JRPG is actually a classic. I don't understand how you could be unaccepting of this. This is how games were designed back in the day when he claims that they were at their peak, when he was enjoying them the most. These are the exact mechanics that he had to engage with, but now as a grown adult, he won't do it. It's too much.
I can literally destroy the entire camp of enemies, but I can't beat the boss. And
Yes.
That's actually what happened. I went to this mining camp, 52 minutes. I killed enemies till it finally said, you have destroyed the excavation site, but the enemies infinitely spawned anyway. That's right, this game has infinite enemy spawns, and you just kill them until the game says, oh, you've killed enough, and then they'll give you credit for the mission. But the enemies keep spawning. So that excavation site, no matter how many hundreds of enemies I killed, still was full of enemies. They just kept coming out of the woodwork. It's terrible. What this game feels like.
And the one encounter he's complaining about, again, was mentioned in these reviews that I was listening to and I read. That one quarry section is absolutely chocked with like 200 enemies or something crazy. It is a very large encounter. It was designed that way. You're allowed to have large encounters in a game. I don't know if you've ever seen 200 people gathered together and known that it was 200 people. It's actually not that many people. It's not that hard to gather 200 people in a location for one thing or another. I feel like if you're a bandit faction taking over an entire resource, like a stone quarry or a mineral quarry, you would probably have 200 individuals there. I don't think that that's an absurd amount of people.
It's
if
all
you've
the
ever
elements
worked,
of an MMO,
you can
which
make up 200 people
it was
pretty
because
quick.
it started as Black Desert Online, scaled down to be a single-player game, and it works in certain regards. The open world, the traversal, the quest lines and mechanics there, things like that. But the one thing that will never work when you take an MMO and turn it into a single-player game is combat. You needed to redesign the combat from the ground up as something different because this formula doesn't work and is not entertaining for a single-player game.
Is this how Black Desert combat is? I've never played Black Desert Online. I know some people who have, and Loki, they spoke fondly about it despite not being MMO enjoyers. They found aspects that they enjoyed and played it for a little bit. But I've never experienced this. I didn't think that this is the way the combat worked. I don't know any MMO that works the same way as this combat seemed to have, the actual solo action style. No, it's not how it works. Not how it works. Okay.
It's atrocious.
Didn't think so.
Like, I was so disappointed because I played it for 4 straight hours and I had a great time. And the moment that I got to the core element of the game, the combat, and I actually had to do it, I was like, wow, this is just boring, repetitive, and way too freaking easy against these minions. Then I got to the boss and I was like, now I'm playing a different game. Now it's way too hard and this isn't fun at all. I'm expected to leave and come back later. No, screw this game. So to be honest with you guys, I'm done. Like, I really have no desire to go back. They should have made a better game.
Native Mamba asking, before he played the game, wasn't he just bitching about people not having to think how to beat something in video games? Yes, absolutely. In actually the same day. He made that he had that conversation about not being able to, low IQ, low attention span, can't think to play video games on the pre-stream right before this gameplay, or a couple of hours before this gameplay, and then gets on here and says the game's hard, guys. I can't just mash my way through. And when I am mashing my way through, I'm not satisfied then either because I'm bored. So the game is bad. Yeah, actually on the same day, almost back to back. That's the Jekyll and Hyde of DSP.
If I like the world design, which I do, the graphics, which I do, the story so far is good, and the questing, great. But the one core element you're going to have to do likely the most in this game is the combat. The combat is terrible. The combat is arguably one of the worst combat engines I've ever experienced in a game. That it's too easy against one group and way too hard against another. They didn't know what they were doing. And I stand by my statement that it seems like recently all the talent has moved to indie studios. Because how is it that it's 2026? This is a huge game with a giant budget, right? $70 release. They don't understand basic combat. Someone in my chat actually said it best. They said,
and again, he says that they don't understand basic combat. Like, they've put together a system that just fundamentally doesn't work whatsoever at all. It's actually unplayable. And they just made a system that he doesn't personally enjoy. But he's chalking it up like it's fundamentally broken. It's just
Shadow of Mordor, which is a game that's 12 years old, has better combat than this game. And I was like, you're right. Shadow of Mordor has satisfying combat. It feels great when you're beating up enemies, when you fight a boss. It feels good. Everything feels good. In this game, it's too easy or too hard, no balance, terrible, not fun. Why do I want to?
Right. It like the classic Modern Warfare 2 is better than Call of Duty's coming out today. It was a more satisfying. The levels felt, again, more satisfying. The sounds felt better. They felt more impactful. The gunplay actually felt responsive and not like bullshit all the time. That doesn't mean anything today. Who gives a fuck?
Play a 100-hour game where every time I have to fight, I'm going to be bored or annoyed. I don't. That's quite the honest answer. So if you're willing to forgive all these shortcomings and give this game a shot, go for it. But I'm telling you right now, there's definitely strong points in it, but I would not waste my time.
Robert Williams saying, as much as I like Mordor, the combat is much more basic. Well, I haven't obviously played Crimson Desert, but Shadow of Mordor is not the crowning, peak of melee combat in a game, in the same way that the Arkham series isn't, in the same way that Assassin's Creed isn't, because they all kind of have the same formula. Can it be fun? Absolutely. Can it feel satisfying to go from character to character and absolutely wreck shop with all of the abilities that you get throughout the game? Yeah, it can. But I don't think that every third-person action game needs to be akin to that. I don't think that they need to play similarly. That's not the only way to do that style of combat.
$70 for a game that you're going to have to play 100 hours, and probably 50-plus hours will be boring combat you're going to hate, or combat that's way too difficult, and now you have to leave and find the special ability to come back and beat that boss. Forget it. They needed to have a game that was well-balanced, and it's another case where you can tell different groups of the dev team worked on different parts. The people who worked on the graphics did a great job. The people who worked on the questing did a great job. The people who worked on the combat must have never did a combat in any game ever before, or only plays MMOs. This isn't an MMO. So it fails. Okay? I now understand why.
Again, I've never seen an MMO that has similar combat. Not World of Warcraft, not Black Desert Online, not Final Fantasy 14. What are other fucking MMOs that I've seen exist in the world? I've seen a lot of them, unfortunately. I didn't play almost any of them, but
there's such a split of reviewers.
Never seen a combat in an MMO
basically
that works this way.
Forgave the combat but fell in love with the open world formula will love Crimson Desert. But for a common person, you're not going to want to drop $70 for a game that you're just bored or pissed off at half the time because you have to fight. Sad. I had high hopes for this game, and I'm done with it. Really, I'm done with it. I have no desire to go back to it.
See, and then he fell for the same goddamn thing he always falls for. Oh, I was really interested in the game. I was really hyped for it. And we could tell because he talked about it a lot for the past 2 weeks. He's in his red shirt with his red background. He changed his schedule all around to play Crimson Desert. He fell for the hype again. Like the fucking consumer that he is. Just it absolutely needs the new slop. I need to eat it. I need to just consume. And then he's going to hold it against the game because it wasn't made for him. But he consumed the slop regardless.
And play that awful, atrocious combat ever again. So I am done with Crimson Desert. More power to you if you choose to play it yourself. But I forewarn you, you're going to be frustrated and disappointed when you finally have to fight. Everything else is good. Maybe you like to fish. Maybe you like to ride creatures. Maybe you like to traverse and explore. I think it excels at that. But man, how do you get combat so wrong? Back to the drawing board for these people. I understand why some people basically trash the game.
And he says back to the drawing board for these people. This game was a success. It was a smash success for this studio. Absolutely. They made a fuck ton of money. There's people ranting and raving about the game, as well as people saying that they are not enjoying it because of the controls or the contrivances or whatever. But again, successful for the company. They are not going to learn anything other than to do this, but I guess better next time, which is always the goal. So they've learned nothing.
And that's all I have to say about Crimson Desert. My 5 to 6 hour journey today ended up in massive disappointment. I was looking for a new game for my rotation, and I basically blew $70 on junk, and I won't play it again. You can watch the footage here on the channel if you wish, and I hope
Did he touch the skill tree? I couldn't tell you. I didn't watch all of the gameplay. I only watched the salty segments. So if he did, I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't know. But it doesn't sound like he did, or if he did, it was on a very, like it was a very minimal amount to the point where he didn't experience any of the fun stuff, I guess,
This
that everybody else is
quick
talking
review
about.
helped you to make a decision for yourself. Thanks for watching. See you later.
Okay. All right, folks. A little on the shorter side today, almost 2 hours even, but that is everything about DSP that interested me this week. Everything else was Slay the Spire or RimWorld or Dragon Quest, I think. I don't even know. When those games are on the schedule, I tune out instantly. I'm not watching that bullshit. But that's me. That's it. That's the stream. I hope I entertained you for as much of your Saturday as you were hoping for. If I don't see you until next Saturday, which will probably be the case, I hope all of you have a safe and blessed weekend and a good work week. Please enjoy your time.